All right, so I'll begin by introducing myself. I'm Jennifer Daniel, and I am the founder of the sought-after School of Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And right here on this platform, our job is to help women like you who have ideas in the tech space go ahead to create impactful businesses. That's what this next 6 weeks will be about. And then at the end of these 6 weeks, we're going to ask you to use the learnings that you've gotten from all the expert trainers that we've put together for you. We want you to create a pitch. And in that pitch, you will have a chance to win a cash prize. You will also be able to join me on Women's Radio. I'll give you a spotlight, right, where you will talk about your business idea and share it with the rest of the world, share it with Nigeria, what change you're trying to bring into the space. And also, every attendee is going to get a certificate of participation. And we really hope that you maximize this opportunity because one thing that we know is that the experts that we've put together for this second cohort, this is the second time, by the way, is they are all people who really want to support you and they will be available for you after the sessions, right? And today, our very first session is on entrepreneurial mindset. We're so thankful to Mr. Akinlabi, who is the founder of So and Heritage. He's returning to us the second time. We're so grateful to him for giving us his time, his valuable time to set our minds right, to give us the right attitudes as we begin this journey of entrepreneurship. If you're here, please count yourself lucky because we only had a select few out of over 500 applications that came in during this period. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Mr. Akinlabi. Mr. Akin, are you there with us? We can't hear you. You're muted.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Your camera. Yes, we can see you. We can hear you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let me just make a little adjustment to this and then I'll be good to go. Um, okay, thank you. I believe that it's a fascinating time to be alive. I am always that optimistic, and it's a privilege to be having a chat with all the wonderful value creators that are on this program today. Okay, so we'll be speaking on entrepreneurial mindset, and my name again is Akinlabi Alabi. I I hope you're seeing the screen. Just test running. Can you see the screen? The progression of the screen.
No, we can't see your screen.
Oh, you cannot see my
We
screen.
can see you. Are you sharing slides? We can't see your slides.
I can see the screen. I think you
Oh,
have
you can see the screen. Okay, yes, yes. Please go back to, yeah, that's my fault. Yes, please. Yes, we can see the screen. Awesome.
Okay, it's all right. Thank you. Okay, so it's the entrepreneur mindset that we're talking about today. And I think it's also a good thing that we're starting with that. The way that I prepared this interaction is to divide it into two. The first part talks about the back end. If you are familiar with uh, computer gadgets and programming and all of those bits. So the back end basically talks about the things that happen behind. And being Nigerians, they call it the backyard. Okay, and then there's the frontage also. Okay, so I will be handling the backyard, the back end of this interaction. and then I have deemed it okay to allow every one of you to handle the front end. Now, I will supply the bits that you need, the building blocks that you need for you to be able to acquit yourself very well at the front end when we get there. So once again, welcome and thank you for having me. Thank you to the organizers and great work you're doing. So my first question as we begin this is to ask you, when you hear the word entrepreneur, what comes to mind? Let me have the house. Anyone can feel free to take the mic and speak, take the floor and speak. What comes to mind when you think about the word entrepreneur? Anyone?
Okay, can I go?
Yes, you can.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Akinlabi. It's nice to have you here. I'm excited to be here. So, when it comes to entrepreneur or entrepreneurship, what comes to my mind is a person that controls other factors of production that is needed in producing a certain product. So, the person acts as a coordinator, the planner, risk taker. It's the person is practically in charge of like everything that makes the organization or keeps the organization running. Thank you.
That's fantastic. That's a good one. And I think it encapsulates most of the things that we'll be dealing with today. We should just remember that contribution. Is there any other one? Let me have one more before we proceed. Another person?
Yeah, Bezawit says the willingness to step out of comfort zones, taking calculated risks to pursue visions.
Awesome, awesome. Is there anyone who would also like to, the last person? Let me have the last contribution.
Okay, sir. I think an entrepreneur is an innovator.
An innovator. Splendid. Great. So we have all talked about the fact that the entrepreneur uses his mind or her mind. The entrepreneur thinks, the entrepreneur takes decisions, the entrepreneur makes choices. That's what we've talked about. Because when you take a risk, you are calculating all the odds. And somebody said informed risk. For you to take an informed risk, you have had to process information. So you are actually going to the core of all that we'll be dealing with today. And so that forms the background to our introduction. And so what's the purpose for this interaction? I said that we are diving into what truly makes an entrepreneur, not just in terms of skill, but in mindset. The way an entrepreneur thinks, acts, and reacts is what often sets them apart. So that's what we are dealing with today. We are looking at the mindset of the entrepreneur. We are trying to look at how this person thinks, how this person acts, and how this person reacts. Okay, so thank goodness for the skills, but much more at this moment, we're looking at the mindset. Okay, so the attempt to define the entrepreneurial mindset gives us these quotes that I have here. It says an entrepreneurial mindset is a way of thinking that enables you to overcome challenges, be decisive, and accept responsibility for your outcomes. Now, you see in that is the fact that you all have mentioned informed risk, you have mentioned management, you've mentioned product development, you've mentioned profit making, managing resources. All of this have to do with the entrepreneur, the way the person thinks, okay, the way the mind works. So that is what everything that we've said has to do with. Now we want to really explore the mindset of that entrepreneur. And like I said, I'm just going to talk about the things that are at the back end, and then I'll leave you to actually be the ones who train us, all of you training us on what how to go about becoming somebody who has the right entrepreneurial mindset. And I said that it's not only if you're a business person that you need to have an entrepreneurial mindset. I believe that it applies to everyone. And I'll tell you later why it applies to everyone. There's a reason why I said that it applies to everyone, whatever it is that you're doing. And but foundational to that is the fact that everyone is called to make an impact. There's a reason why God created everyone, and God didn't create it just to pass through. You're meant to create value, whether that value now becomes commercial or it just serves the society on a pro bono level. You're meant to create value. Okay. Before we get to me, I don't know if I have my friend. I invited my friend Doi to be part of this session. I just messaged her that I would be glad for her to share some stories before we go into the body of our conversation. Doi, are you here? Are you online?
Let me tell you how to do
Can somebody help me reach Doi? And then if you cannot, then let probably. Okay.
We're working on that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so while we're waiting for Doi, let me just take this introduction about myself. That I said I am a purpose mechanic. Most of us, all of us, who are familiar with yeah. Okay, so my own beat is to be a purpose mechanic, and what I do is that I scout, I salvage, I scavenge, and then of course I also help to nurture purpose. That is actually a new angle to service delivery in our part of the world. But I believe more than anything that everyone that is created on earth is created to serve a purpose. Most often than not, there are issues that come along around us that impinge on our ability to do that. So we have a service that says that when you're burnt out, when you're tired, when you need steam, when you need fuel, when you need to do to service your vehicle, your purpose vehicle, that is what we do. And part of that is what I'm doing on this platform today. Another thing I do is that I write and then I teach. Also, I like the teaching bits more than anything. And then I speak. I speak at when opportunities come. I coach. Okay, I coach business, I coach life, and then I train also. But much more than anything, all of these are undergirded by the fact that I'm a faith person, and all my output is from the perspective that God has got me, and that makes me to be somebody who is sold out to hope. So you can really hear me say that something is not possible or is hopeless. Okay, so
Doi is here. So
very easy. Okay, so let me just conclude my introduction, and then I would have Doi take the stage.
all right.
So, what solutions do I bring to the table? Because all of you here are solution providers. So these are my own solutions, some of my solutions anyway. First one is Nahi. It's a platform, it's a financial services platform where businesses, entrepreneurs are funded. We know that there is a problem with funding entrepreneurs in Africa and then especially in Nigeria. So this actually will be the second attempt that we're making. We've already had one in the market that has been doing very well, has won many awards. And then so we're bringing this second one into the market. The other thing that I do in terms of solutions is Soul and Heritage, which is where businesses are supported. And so the first one solves the financial issues, then the second one solves the business support and services aspect of running a startup or a business. And then I also have Zobara. Zobara is actually the platform that handles this kind of thing I'm doing with you, which is executive coaching, life and business coaching. Then there's Abowaba. At the end of this, you will see my address. And then it contains the website to Abowaba. It's basically a web creation platform where we take the Ajo, the Adashi, the Susu that you know, and then we reimagined it, we repurposed it in such a way that it serves you in a way that makes money to make much more sense for you, to reward your discipline. It also is something that we are positioned for you now to be able to serve your community, do community development more than anything. If you have the time, I probably will go over that more at the end of the interaction that we're doing. So this is me, and this is me getting to the first part, which is the entrepreneur mindset, the back end. But before I go on, I want to yield the floor to Doi. And by way of a brief introduction, or should I actually allow Doi? Let me allow Doi to introduce herself, because she's a very good communicator. And then maybe after she's left, I would do some gossip about her. Okay.
Can you hear me now? Good morning.
Yes, we can
Can
hear
you hear me? Okay, good morning. My name is Okedoyin Komalafe. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I'm a business entrepreneur. So that means 3 roles in one. Thank you, my dear friend, for this opportunity to talk about entrepreneurship. I'm the CEO of Angie's Jobs Catering Services, luxury events by Agbeke and Agbeke Consulting. We do training startups for restaurants, eateries that want to start up. We do consulting for them. And for the catering aspect, we cater for events, parties, social gatherings, seminar, etc. So far, entrepreneurship, like they say, is not for the faint-hearted. But I will say that if you want to live a purposeful life, if you want to have generational wealth for your children, unborn children, you want to, you're tired of the 9 to 5, is the way to go. It might be rough from the beginning, but if you have the passion, you have the drive, and you equip yourself academically, morally, the sky is the limit. I could remember when I started, I was in the banking sector. I had a 9 to 5, you know. I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria. It's crazy working from one part of Lagos to the other. I live on the mainland. I work on the island, different hands. I wake up like 4 a.m. to get to my office. I wake up like 4 a.m. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Thank you.
Like 4 a.m. to get to my office, for 8 a.m., close by 6, get home like 11 p.m. That wasn't the life I wanted. So I got tired of it. Prior to that, growing up, my mom was into this catering business, but I never liked it, I just felt that's our drive. I studied accounting, did management courses. So I was pursuing my career in banking. But at a point, I was not fulfilled. I just felt, why would I be counting millions for other people? Why am I counting other people's money? You go out to market to seek for targets, you're dealing in millions of naira. How much are they paying me as salary? Where would I be in 5 years? Where do I see myself in 10 years? Do I want to continue this lifestyle? So I said, no, let me have a change of career. I tried to diversify into aviation. I went to aviation school. If I want to do anything, I believe what is what doing is what doing well. So I diversified. I went to aviation school. Still, it was not my tough. Then plane crash started happening in Nigeria. And I'm like, God, is this a sign from you? But effortlessly, I just found out that I was planning parties for people. I would give ideas. I would cook. People would even be fighting for the food. And then somebody was just saying, don't you think you should make a business out of this? This is like a hobby for you. Why not make a business out of it? And I'm like, really? There was even a burial I went 4 years back. I was not the planner, everything was going chaos. And then I just took it upon myself to manage the whole situation. And right there, and then everybody started addressing me, are you the planner? Are you in charge? Are you in charge? And I was like, no. So I thought about it. If I go into this way, I'll be in control of my time. One, I'll be able to make as more money as I want. Even if I'm working 24 hours, that means I'm working for myself. So I decided to register my company, and then we started off as an SME. Today we have about 3 branches in Lagos with over 60 staffs on payroll and about 30 casual staffs. So you can imagine what that is. And this is my 16th year in the business. It has not been easy, but today I can tell you that all the banks in Nigeria want to do business with us. I can tell you for a fact that when it comes to catering, our brand is a household name in Nigeria. But we didn't get there today. It was through sweat, blood, determination, hard work, so many sleepless nights, so many debts that we incurred on the way. But along the line, we're able to balance our book. And at the same time, work with mentor, work with professionals, people that have soiled the same paths, learn from our mistakes. But today, I can tell you that if I should have the opportunity, I'll do it all over again. I'll tell you that today, I'm assured that my kids are in safe hands. I'm assured that their future is secured. I'm assured that even generations unborn, that won't happen if I'm working in a GTB, because I'm not a shareholder in a GTB. But for my company, apart from being a shareholder, I have my children as shareholder, I have other people. So it's like building generational wealth. And for this part of business, because before I decided to even go into it as well, I thought about it. Every day, people are celebrating wedding, birthday, burial, graduation, promotion. There's always a reason for celebration. So people always want to eat. So we look at meeting up and solving a problem of hunger. So for entrepreneurship, you must be able to meet a need. Look around you. There must be a demand for you to supply.
That's
What are
true.
you supplying?
That's true.
What are you supplying? There must be a purpose. I say that even if it's just bottled water or fruit juice that you want to start as a business, you should be able to meet a demand. Put yourself in a strategic location. Entrepreneurship is competitive. What you are doing, you have 1 million and one other people doing as well. But what is your selling point? What separates you from other? Why should I patronize you and not the next person? We all eat out. We all go to restaurants. We all go to eateries. We all go to lounges. Why should I prefer A to B? What am I getting? Customer satisfaction? Is it happy hour? Is it buy one, get one? There must be a catch, but you must be able to meet a need. So for my company, we are meeting the need of hunger. People don't have time to cook in Lagos. When they have events, they don't have time to cater for their guests. So we are meeting that need.
Thank you.
And as we are growing, when it comes to funding, it might be challenging, but as time goes by, like Abo is there, you know, you can always talk to you, Abo to become a partner if we need funding. I think for now, I got to stop.
Nice one. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think it's a good day for us to give doing you a round of applause. Thank you for coming. She actually
Yeah.
has events.
Have it.
She has more events today already, and then she was gracious enough to give us these few minutes to share our story. So thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Okay, now that is Doing's story, and like I said, if at the time, I'll do some gossip later on. So uh, I want you to hold the story she told. I want you to hold it at the back of your mind. I'm going to my beat right now, and then later on, when you are doing your beat, you probably might need to reference a story. But as I do the back end, I want you to be trying to see all the points that she raised, all the points that she mentioned, to see if you can identify those points in the work I'm going to do with you right now. Okay, so we are going to stay here for quite a while, these concepts. The first one is the nature of a business idea. A business idea is a spiritual thing. And I'm not talking about it in terms of Christian, Muslim, or anything, but the fact that it came from outside of you. Okay, it is something that is an idea that, got communicated to you as a person. So the business idea is a spiritual thing, and you need to hold that at the back of your mind. I wanted to ask you before that if anyone had any dreams that came to pass, or if anyone had somebody give a prophecy. But these are two things that we're very, very familiar with. When you dream, most of the time, without doing anything. Actually, when we dream, we don't normally do anything. We just see that the dream will come to pass, the ones that are meant to come to pass. Okay, the dream will just come to pass, and then you will tell someone, I had this dream. And then can you imagine it just came to pass like that? And then the same thing for prophecy. Somebody tells you that something is going to happen in the future, and lo and behold, it would happen. But beyond that is the fact that almost every one of us, we are told either our friend or our siblings or somebody very close to you, it might be our colleague, that this thing, the way it's going, is going to be like this. Or this thing, you have to be careful about it. And what you're talking about has nothing to do with the present, it's about the future. And maybe after a few days, it could be, sometimes it might just be after a few hours, what you had warned or what you had mentioned would happen just come to pass. Are you familiar with this thing? I told you. I told you. So you see that every one of us, we have the capacity to foretell the future. What a business idea does is that it comes as a dream. A business idea is a dream. A business idea is a prophecy. It's telling you today what can happen tomorrow. That is what a business idea is. So when you receive your idea for your business, you are being put in a place to determine the future. That is what happens. And almost everybody on the face of the earth can actually get a business idea. That is the first thing I need us to resolve. It is spiritual. It is spiritual. And because it is spiritual, just the same way you expect the prophecy that they tell you to come to pass, just the same way you dream and you expect it to come to pass. Your venture must align with that principle. When it does, it actually frees you. When it does, it frees you. But it is okay, very okay for you to understand that a business idea that you get is spiritual. It is a dream. It's a prophecy. That business idea is standing and telling you you can be rich, you can buy a car, you can travel the world, you can save money for generations to come. It is telling you what is possible to happen. And I want us to remember that. The second one that we need to look at in this, among the concepts, is the fact that the content and conduit of an idea. We want to explore the content and conduit of an idea. I've told you that it is spiritual. So you are physical. We're talking about something coming from where you do not see, where you have not been before. It just comes to you. For those of us who are of the Christian faith, you would get to hear the book of Malachi say that when you do certain things, I would pour down a blessing. Your basket will not be able to contain it. Okay, you hear about, I will bless you so much. Okay, and we have the practice of sowing seeds sometimes so that something, a breakthrough can happen. So we are actually aligned to the spirituality of the business idea. We are aligned to the spirituality of wealth creation. Wealth creation is a spiritual thing. Okay, and in that regard, it comes from the spirit, but you are living on earth. You are a human being on earth. The spirit, we can't see it. You are feeling the wind, you are breathing, but you cannot really see it. But it doesn't mean that it's not happening. So the spiritual is as tangible as the physical. However, because the person you want to serve your business idea, the person you want to serve your product cannot relate to it as an idea because he didn't receive it the clear way that you did. That idea now has to take form and take shape. Now, for it to pass from the spiritual to the world, it has to go through a bridge. It's like you are going from one village to the other. So it has to pass through a bridge. The bridge that the business idea has to pass through is your mind. So your mind is the bridge. Now, the thing is this, let's just start the application. If you are traveling at a very good speed on a bridge that has potholes, on a bridge that is rickety, there is a possibility that there will be disaster. An accident might come. So in that regard, it might not be anything wrong with the car. It might not be anything wrong with the idea. But once the bridge, the mind, has potholes, once it is weak, bringing the idea, this thing that has the potential to change the world and change your destiny, bringing it to the physical might be a problem. That nature of the bridge, the health of the bridge, and even the fact of the bridge is what we are talking about today. We have established the fact that every business idea, you just go in, something just drops. Yeah, then you tell somebody. All these things that you're saying, nobody can see it. Okay, but when your mind is able to process it and receive it, then it starts coming to the physical. Then it starts receiving appreciation. Then people start attaching value to it. Then they start paying for the value that they believe that that thing is worth. When they start paying and you have satisfied your food, clothing, and shelter needs, and you have paid your staff, and you have paid the cost of executing that idea in the physical, and you start saving what you have left in the bank or in investment, over time it will grow. That is how you become wealthy. That is exactly how you become wealthy. So how that passes is the mind. And it's a very, very important thing that we're going to be looking at. Now, when you get an idea that passes through your mind, depending on the health of your mind, depending on how healthy your mind is, depending on the configuration of so many aspects of your personality, and in the larger context, your total being is actually a picture of your mind. That is why the Bible, for example, says that as a man thinketh, so is he. Okay, so the totality of everything that you do often depicts who you are on the inside of you. It is the basis from which we can extrapolate your character. It is from the basis upon which we can extrapolate your identity. So now, when your mind, which is the bridge that brings the idea from the spirit to the world, okay? When your mind is interacting with that idea and trying to choose whether to do it or not, it's happening in your mind. The process of that happening is called decision making. You are trying to decide. Now, my operationalization of decision is this: you find a choice, you choose a choice, and you act on the choice. So I have been able to differentiate between decision and intention. So right now, you would know the reason why you had so many business ideas and then they didn't come to pass. You didn't make it business. It's because when it came, you liked the idea. You started wanting it. You started dreaming about it. That is in the area of intention. But you see, once you have chosen one aspect of it or all the aspect of it, and then you act on it, it has become a decision. Okay, that decision is what is going to create the business on earth. Let me explain. What if, from the story that she told us, she had been seeing her mother do event planning? She didn't like it, okay? But later on, people started talking to her, and suddenly in her head, it just clicked. I can actually do this. So that is when our mind started mixing all the variables together. And then one day, she decided that she was going to do it. How do I mean decided? She made the choice to go for event planning at the opportunity cost of working with the bank. Once she's made that choice, she now resigned from the bank and then started doing event planning. So a decision had taken place. Most of us were frustrated in life because we do not understand the fact that we have not taken decisions when we thought we are taking decisions, just because we felt like, just because we had the feeling of it. No, it's different. You have to make the choice, you have to act on the choice. That is when it becomes a decision. Once you make a decision, which is executing your choice, something very interesting happens. And that is also another thing I'm going to introduce to you right now. Remember that idea is spiritual. Remember that your mind is physical. Okay? How can your mind and your personality, how can it take care and have the resources to handle something that is spiritual? All of us, we know that, even especially in Africa, we fear the spirits. When I was growing up, they would frighten us with Egungun Calabar or Juju. Anything that is spiritual, we're always afraid of, because we believe that they are much more superior than the physical. In the same vein, your mind cannot totally provide and handle something that is spiritual without that spiritual continuing to participate in what is applied to you. So now I'm going to also let you know that decision is your spiritual power. Now you see now that you have decision, which is a spiritual power. The idea is a spiritual source. It's from a spiritual source. Now, so that you can play an equal game on earth, God gave you, providence gave you something that is spiritual in nature, but which we actually never really thought about. Some of you might be hearing it for the first time today, and I will explain to you. Decision is a spiritual power that God gave us, that providence gave us, okay, to be able to act like God. And that is why the only thing you can do with your mind is to calculate the choice and reason that this is the decision to take. Once you take the decision, for any one of you who have been conversant of the process, what happens after the decision is always beyond you. You are totally not in control of it. Let me see if I can make that explanation clearer. The lady who just spoke to us right now said that she has been able to create resources that not only our first generation, our children's children will be able to take care of themselves. She said generational wealth. The idea of generational wealth is much more than what you can actually think about, because you are saying that you have put something in place that will take care of something that has never happened before. And secondly, she's earning more than she was earning at the bank. Now, that earning is what she could never, ever have determined. But once she took the decision to start the event planning, which I've told you is choice plus action, became a decision, it became a spiritual thing that is able to meet with the source of the idea. That is why rich people always grow in money. That's why business people always grow in money. That is why businesses attract resources more than anything. Because once you have taken the decision, the power of that decision is spiritual. It grows great. And so that is when changes start happening. Changes start happening for you. You start employing staff. You start saving. You start doing so many things. Your community starts changing. Your nation starts to hear about you. Such that at the end of the day, the kind of money you have, that you have the potential of having, cannot be explained by the number of years you have lived on earth. And at the same time, when you are successful in bringing that idea to earth and it has gained value and it's now paying you back, it's usually more than what you can spend in a lifetime. That is something that explains what is spiritual. Because it's put Dangote and his money together. Dangote will tell you that he's not able to finish the money in a lifetime. Because what? The idea to start that business has taken on power beyond measure. And people who started business, they never dreamed of becoming billionaires when they started. But you see, that power kicks in and then goes and goes and goes, and then causes change, because you are participating in creation at the level of when you are taking a decision. Decision is the spiritual power that God gave you to create and to cause change to happen. And it's only human beings who can do that. So the business idea is spiritual, your decision making is spiritual, but your mind is in this your physical frame. Now, let's go on. And I said change is an incubator for transformation. You've heard it from our story right now. Decisions don't leave you the same way. And there's one thing that we should note also. The reason why God gave us the freedom to be the ones to make choices and make decisions is because creation, the world goes on. It does not stop changing and becoming more. So when you are meant to take a decision which will cause change and transformation, and you do not take the choice and make that decision, don't think that creation is not happening. Creation is happening, but it's happening in what we call a degeneration. Because nature harbors a vacuum, something must be happening. So when you don't use your capacity and the spiritual tool you've been given to be able to move to the next level, don't think you are staying in the same way you were staying. There's really nothing like status quo. You are degenerating. So there's only one way. You either go forward or you go backward. So when you don't take a decision, when you have the opportunity, when you have the nudging from the spirit to cause change and transformation, what you have done is that you are bought into what we call entropy, which is a fundamental principle for degeneration. And what happens, how you measure it is most of the time, most of the time, though I'm not saying that you should be using yourself to compare to other people, most of the time you find that those who take decisions, they are on an ascendancy. You that you have not taken a decision in any area of your life, whether it's to go to school more, whether it's to have more friends, whatever you had the opportunity to make a decision on that you didn't make a decision on, you found that they'll be gaining more and you'll be losing in that area. Jesus Christ told us how this works. He said, to the person who has, more will be given. But the person who does not have, what the person has will now be taken away. It doesn't seem right if you do not understand this principle. Jesus Christ is saying that if you do not use your spiritual power to generate new levels, what is going to happen is that don't think you are going to stay in the same way, because then it will look as if nature is rewarding you for the fact that you have chosen the comfort zone. You will be retrogressing in value in one way or the other. So we need to note that. So, and then we'll tie it up very soon. Now, what is the utility of a business idea? The utility of a business idea is that providence, nature, God, he wants to take care of people. So when God created the heavens and the earth, there were just a few number of people. But God knew that they would increase in number, so there will be need for housing. God knew that there will be so much that they will spread all over the earth. There will be need for transportation to keep in touch. There will be need for communication. All of these things, God wanted people to have. So what he's done is that he had chosen any entrepreneur as part of his creative team, such that when God sees that nature is at the point of needing that thing, then he gives the idea to you. He allows you to use your spiritual power to make the decision. And then, honestly, most of the time, that's all you need to do. What happens after that is always beyond your imagination. Most of us will call it luck. Most of us will call it coincidences. But you find out most of the time when you have a burning desire in your heart and you're walking towards it and you do not give up, most often than not, it gets to happen. It is that spiritual thing that has taken charge because you used your mind. Now you are seeing the big part that your mind plays and how we're going to focus on the mindset very soon. But if I can jump ahead, okay, so the first one, the invisible hand, before I move to the next one, the invisible hand is something that we got from the father of economics, Adam Smith. He says that when you say you want to start a business, you often think that it's because you want more money, you want more prestige, you want to take advantage of an opportunity. Adam Smith says that in most or all the cases, you end up doing a public good. And he said that the proportion for you to do that public good is caused by an invisible hand. Can you see that even in economics, they've been able to pinpoint the fact that these things are spiritual is beyond what you can calculate. So the invisible hand is what now makes your business to serve the common good. If you permit me, I'm in the UK right now. I'm in my office. Some of us were in Nigeria, some of us were in the US, some of us were in another part of Africa. But we're talking real time. So the person who started Zoom, the person who started Teams and everything wanted to make money. But right now, is it the basis upon which we're enjoying communication or not? It is. Does God want people to communicate and be social? He created us to be social. So you are seeing that business has served a common good. Doyin said that people want to eat. Does God want people to eat or not? Yes, he does want you to eat. He doesn't want you to starve. But he recognizes the fact that he has called you into other things that might impinge on your time. So he gave ideas to people like Doyin. Can you take care of these people for me? Essentially, as a business person, you're a caretaker. Because God loves the world, and then he wants to use you to do what? To take care of the world. Okay. And then I said health care, that's the point I've raised there. Okay. Now, the next thing you need to note is that we've been talking about the mind for quite a while. The first thing that you notice is that we said an idea is communicated. So the information aspect, okay, of the mind and the workings of it is already coming into place. Now, because you have to be making decisions, imagine that every day you wake up, and then you have to decide about this. You have to decide about this. You have to process information to decide about this. It's going to wear you down. But because God does not want you to be worn down, He created automation in your system, in your body. That automation system is in your mind. It connects with your brain. So some of us, we don't list all the processes we use to go and take our bath. Once you pick the towel, sometimes, most times, everything in your body knows I'm going to take a bath. Most of us, there's many things that we do automatically because God had encoded all the information about that into our system so that it does not weary us. Now, those levels of information, they are the things that contribute to the. So when we now say mind, a mind that is set, let me explain it in this way, and then you understand the automation. When you have clay, the red clay that you use for pottery, when you have that material, clay, that is the human being, that is your mind. Then you put water. When you put water, the water is information. Because you are making decisions, another thing you need to note is that because you are created as a human being to make decisions, and the reason why you are created as a human being to make decisions is because you are meant to create. That is the only basis upon which you can create a business. Because it is your wiring to create, and you are creating every day. Some of you can make people laugh. You have created laughter. If there are parents here, you've created children. If you're in a relationship, you have created a relationship. Things that did not exist before, they now exist just because you had an idea that I want this to happen, and then you acted on it, and then you created a reality. Okay? Doyi just spoke with you right now. That is something that we created. And if I might just quickly do this aspect of the information. So I met Doyi on a plane coming to Nigeria or going to Nigeria. The bit about how we came to sit together is a very interesting one that will be a story for another day. And while we sat together, we started talking. Now, part of the principle of life is that he who wants to have friends must first be friendly. So I started talking to her. Did you all hear her call me a friend just now or not? Hello, I need a wave. Did you hear her call me a friend? Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes,
Yes,
we hear that.
we did.
Okay, 6 months ago, I wasn't that friend. But because this principle I'm explaining to you has happened, there's a principle of he who wants to have friends must first be friendly. And then when the idea dropped in my heart that you can be this person's friend, I made that choice. I acted upon it. There are risks to it. She could reject me. Though he told me I never talk to anybody in the plane. Are you seeing the spiritual aspect that I'm talking about? Things you can't control. Once you take the decision, you can't control. I could not have gone to change Doyi's mind in that plane to start talking to people and change her behavior. No. But because I received an idea, I acted on it and took risks, like someone said before. Can you see that everything that happened went beyond me? Doyi said she never would speak to anybody in the plane. Not only Doyi, our son also became my friend. Now, did you hear Doyi talking about the fact that we can do multi-million business together or not? That's not a rhetorical question. Did you
Yes,
hear?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so tomorrow, if I access 50 million from my relationship with Doyi, would it be because I was in control of the whole process, or what I've told you about the fact that decisions are spiritual? They encapsulate your spiritual capacity on earth. Once you take it, you can't control the consequences. You can't control the implications. And that is what is good for you as an entrepreneur. because it gives you the promise that once I'm able to take this decision and I've done my research very, very, very well, you heard all the processes that she talked about. And then I am able to provide support for myself. Even when I go into debt, I'm still able to pull through. She's not talking about the fact that she has raised money for generations to come. That is something that is beyond you. What I'm saying is that how you now start taking decisions, like somebody created to take a decision because you were created to be a creator. Decision is your caterpillar to create. Decision is your factory to create. Once you take a decision, a new reality is brought. And that is why many people don't take decisions, because it's a whole world of responsibility. And I'm saying that the process of that decision making over time, so that you don't need to be worrying your brain about arriving at a decision, they now became set. They became automated, such that even without thinking, by reflex, you are able to do what? You're able to take a decision. That is what is good for an entrepreneur. At the same time, that is where the problem is for an entrepreneur. You heard Doyin say that people will say, hey, you are doing this thing very well. Where did Doyin learn how to do this thing very well? It's because even when she thought she was not noticing her mother, or that she did not like what her mother was doing, the information through interacting with her mother was entering into her mind. The whole information was setting in her mind, such that when it became time, she told you that she just went to a party and then she found that things were not going on very well. And then somehow, without thinking about it, she just kicked into action. That kicking into action, receiving validation, was what has made her a millionaire now. The problem is this: if the kind of information that has been setting in your mind, if they are not the ones that empower you and empower your purpose, almost the same time that she acted without thinking about it, is the same way you will act without thinking about it, even when it will be a bad choice, even when it will be a bad habit. An entrepreneur, for example, is meant to take informed risk. If you have lived in a system that tells you, be careful, and where they punish you for failing, where they embarrass you and cause you shame, most likely than not, you won't take risk. And when you don't take risk, because what you heard was like somebody talking to a madman, something just spoke in your head. Why don't you try this chin and pop-off business, and then you put it in nylon, and then you put a label? It's most likely something that never been done in your family before. If the kind of information that are set in you, they are the ones that frown at risk and punish failure, most often than not, you will not take that decision. By not taking that decision, you have relegated your spiritual power to create. The only thing God gave you to make a change, to be like God, is decision making, because it creates a new level. And once you make that decision, the power goes beyond you. There's something that he said, I like using the Bible. Please permit me, for those of you who are not familiar with it. Okay. In the book of John chapter 1, the Bible says that for those who take the decision to believe in Jesus Christ, once they choose in their mind that Jesus Christ, I want you to be my Lord, and when they now act on it by telling somebody that, see, I've chosen Jesus Christ to be my Lord, the Bible says that a power comes upon them. He said that power makes them to become children of God. That is the kind of illustration that explains decision more than anything. Once you take that decision, a power you cannot understand, that you are not in control of, comes, takes over that decision, and then makes it to boomerang good or have impact in a way that is beyond your control. Okay, so that fact that you have to be taking decision over time, even when you don't know, they are setting in you. That is where mindset came from. The information, the beliefs, the values, the thoughts, the culture, the background. They are set in you. They're formed. When you mix water and clay, you make a shape. You now leave it. It will now set. That means it will dry. It will take that form. You see, anything after that that you pour into that clay, it is only the shape of that thing that it has dried up to be that is going to take. That is the mindset. And I said that is a good thing. And that also can be a dangerous thing. So let me now go on a bit. But let me quickly mention this. God is a mindset person. That is how God has been able to rule the world. You see, like I said, I do go to the Bible more than anything. So the Bible says that in the book of John chapter 1, it said in the beginning, the J.B. Phillips version says that in the beginning, God expressed himself. God expressed. If you go to the J.B. Phillips version, so the King James version tells you that in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Okay, before we go to the creation thing that happened, the J.B. Phillips says that in the beginning, God expressed himself. That expression was now with God. That expression became God. Are you seeing what we've been talking about? You see, your communication of your value, of yourself, of your thought, of your idea, of your choices, they are always with you. They stay with you, and it is from them. Anything that you create in your life, you are going to create from them. The problem is if they are not as premium and high quality as the Word of God. The Bible tells Christians that Jesus Christ is the Word of God, and that Jesus Christ himself was God on earth and is God. Okay, so that means that the material that is the basis of the information that God used to talk to himself, to talk about himself, and to make anything that he makes on earth and in heaven came from a very high quality material. So in a way, God has a mindset. God is set. That's why the Bible says that God loves you. No matter what, he loves you. Most often than not, it is human beings that will not decide not to take the love of God. It's the same thing. So God uses mindset. His mind is set. There's a very popular verse in the Bible that Christians use, and I hope that when I share it right now, it's going to give you more understanding into that. The Bible says that God honors his word more than his name. You see now, it is the mindset of God that determines his identity. That's what that place means. He honors his word. You see, in your life, you might say that God has a choice, but in your own life, in my own life, we don't have a choice. Our mindset sets us such that we can only set any aspiration to the level of the way our mind is set. It is a good thing for entrepreneurs. It's also a dangerous thing for every human being. Because if the way your mind has been set is not optimally programmed to support your aspiration, there's going to be a problem. Somebody said that when you see a rich kid, somebody from a very wealthy background, and he wants to do a project, they say that what that rich kid will say is, who is going to do this thing for me? But they said that if you see a poor kid, somebody who came from a poor background, maybe even after he had become rich or something, but let's say a poor kid who has a project to do, guess what the first thing will be that person will say? He will say, where am I going to get money to do this thing? Are you seeing it right now? It's the different way that the mind of those people have been set. And no matter what, they might be the same age, but the goal they set for themselves, the height they set for themselves will be different based on how their mind is set. That is the interesting thing. That is the good potential. That is also the problem. And when you look in and around you and probably look at your business process, you can always already be seeing what the problem is right now. Let me share some stories about mindset and everything to show you that, see, God respects the setting of the mind. He respects mindsets because he knows it's a creation principle. So you rarely see him try to, exert himself. Again, in the Bible, it says that as you have spoken in my ears, that is what I will do. Okay? That's in the Bible. As you have spoken in my ears, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So you have a place like Peter, one of the apostles and disciple of Jesus Christ, and Jesus. From the rich boy and poor boy, we know that Jesus Christ came from wealth. He came from possibilities. So there was a problem, and Peter was a fisherman. Most of the time, when he would go out to work, he would not catch anything. So he knew how to be poor. He knew poverty. Now look at how this plays out. And I'm just going to say one or two of them for you to try and understand this before I round up my own back end. And then I'll try to now let you continue this interaction from the concept I've interpreted to you, because you are learned people. You'll be able to see what the problems and what the potentials are already. So there was this problem. Okay, by the way, as an entrepreneur, everything that happens around you is an opportunity. In my class, in my master class and my program, I call everything around you a creation environment, a creation environment. Because when you make decisions about things that happen to you, they tend to create a new reality. So that is why the Bible says that count it all joy, even when you go through tribulations. And it now tells you all the things that can happen to you. Okay? That is why the Bible says that the line has fallen for you in pleasant places, because he knows that was exactly Genesis chapter 1, where he saw the earth and the heaven and the waters in a messed up state. He saw what God created from it. And because God created you in his image and likeness, most of the times, actually in life, you will be presented with such. That is the reason why you were born, so that you can create new heavens and new earth from it. But again, if your mindset has been one that has been taught that difficulty is trouble, so even when the difficulty comes as an opportunity, you'll not be able to create anything and become rich or prosperous through it. So let's look at Peter. Jesus came from heaven, wealth and everything. They had 5,000 people who wanted to eat. There was no market there. There was no restaurant. So Jesus Christ asked, we need to give these people food. The interesting thing is that the Bible said that Jesus Christ already knew what he was going to do. Why? Because of the way his mind is set. He came from a wealthy father. He came from abundance and possibilities. Now look at Peter, who had believed in God, who was a good man. Do you know how he interpreted the thing? He said, because he was a salary earner, because he was a daily income person, when he saw that problem, what he did was that he calculated how many months' salary would take care of those people. He said it would take 6 months of money, salaries that you don't spend at all before you can take care of those people. That means that he will not be able to create the value that needed to be created. Jesus Christ went ahead and created that value. Every day now, we talk about the miracle that Jesus Christ did, the value he created, and that has made him to become a renowned person. That is what the mindset does. Because Peter came from a father who was still working even in old age. Jesus Christ called Peter when he was with his father, called John and James when they were with their parents. Okay? So that means that they are not done like doing, they are not created generational wealth. And sometimes they will not have enough. So you see, that want, that need are set in his mind. And that was the way he was interpreting every creation environment. There are so many people like that when you look into the Bible, you will see that they will come from the way their mind is set. God is coming from another place. Most often than not, for entrepreneurs who don't go on with their dreams, it's the same thing. They are coming from a background that sees limitation, that doesn't understand these principles I've been trying to share. So when God comes from wealth and says that, take that snacks idea, and then this is what it's going to be. you know how your brain works. That is what we want to tackle, okay? And we said that the superstructure for that is the introduction to management information system and information management system, okay? I want to take a pause here before I go to that one, because this is the only slide that remains for me before I let go. But I just want to take a pause here. I want 2 or 3 people to tell me how some of the things I've been sharing, I've identified the story in doing, okay? I want to see those ones I've not mentioned that actually correlated with what she said. It can also be something in your own personal life, in your own personal experience, that this background that I've shared, this concept that I've explained, the fact that the nature of a business idea is spiritual, your mind is the bridge that has to calculate based on the level of the quality of information that is in your mind. Because the way your mind is set, that is the way you set your aspirations. Again, the way your mind is set is to the extent that you set your aspirations. And that's why I shared the rich boy and poor boy story. Okay, but I said that how can something that is spiritual, that has the potential to make Dangote a billionaire? Jeff Bezos had a wedding yesterday. I learned it was 40 million pounds. 40 million pounds is almost, maybe like 500 million naira in Nigeria. And this guy was working in a financial reporting firm before he got the idea to start Amazon. How could he ever have imagined he would become a billionaire in triples? But like I said, you now understand it, that once you take the decision, it is spiritual. It starts working in a way that you cannot explain. That is the reason why business people grow rich more than the people who work at jobs where they don't take decisions. They only execute decisions that have been taken by other people. That is why they write have been directed. That's why they say my manager, my supervisor, my boss. Somebody had taken that decision. So the person had taken that decision and you're not able to pay them money. So that means that the person has experienced that spiritual thing. So I want to take a pause and then I want you to see how some of these things I'm sharing aligns with the story that Doi shared or some of the other stories that you know that you can share with us. And then I'll pause my video while you do that. Hello, I need feedback. I need feedback. I need to hear you. I need to hear you. Be free. Be free. Just take the floor.
Please go ahead and unmute if you have something to say.
Let's make it as if we're entrepreneurs trying to share our idea. Entrepreneurs are always, out there. They're always very eager. Okay, so let's see if we've been good this far. This story can be a story that you think that we would know, that seems to correlate with some of this. It can be something personal. It can be, an idea you want to share. Let's quickly do that.
Yes, Rhoda, you can unmute and go ahead.
Let them know, just unmute, and then if it's possible, coordinator, you could probably, so that we have a marketplace of ideas. Let's have a marketplace of interaction and everything like that. Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay. Good morning, sir, Mr. Akinlabi.
Thank
Good
you.
morning, everyone. Thank you so much for what you just taught us. I've learned really a lot, and I'm really, as you were teaching, correlating everything you were talking about with my own experience as an educator, one, and also as a team lead of an NGO here in my community. I lead an NGO that reaches out to children and young people. So I remember in 2021 when I had the idea of starting an NGO, it came like an idea. And also, as you said, ideas come like they are like dreams or prophecy. And I think there was a situation that occurred in school where we had a sort of we had a child in school who engaged in a sort of sexual activity with other students. And so it was outside the school, but it dragged the name of our school. And then from there, the idea dropped in my heart that you have a grace for children. That is, I work with children both in school and in church, and then reorient their minds regarding several social vices. That one of the greatest things that affect young people is their mind. And so we kickstarted the NGO. I was like, okay, what would the NGO be about? So I said, okay, let me focus it on children since I work with students. And then we focus on different areas: education, tech, creativity, entrepreneurship, and all of that. So one of our major programs that we carried out was in the area of street talent hunt. I had that as a dream. As you said, the idea came, do something like street talent hunt. I live in a rural community, let me say, not too modern like that. So we decided to start in 2022. And the budget for that was costing us about 400,000 as at that time, 400 to 500,000. I didn't have money. I had nothing. I didn't have anything to like say, let's start a street talent hunt. We needed children to register. We needed them to audition. We were going to give them prizes, which we scheduled for 50,000 naira for first winners. Second winner go with 20, then 10,000 like that. I didn't have anything, but I had 10,000 naira. I said, okay, let me print out the flyers. Let me print out the handbills. And we did that. Before we know it, we had children who were registering. They wanted to participate in music, in dance, and in comedy. And we had so many people enrolled. Then I didn't have money for the audition. All I knew was to reach out to community members, stakeholders, and all of that. All of a sudden, we got people supporting us with 50,000 naira, 10,000 naira, and all of that. I scaled through the period of the audition because I had to get people from far and near who were qualified who were skilled and experts in this area, different fields of arts, to audition these children. And the money came through. It was time for the grand finale. The grand finale was scheduled for 12th of June. That was Democracy Day. A week to that program, I had nothing on me. I had no money. We had exhausted all we had in planning, in everything, but I needed about 150,000 naira at least for the grand finale, refreshment, lighting, decoration, and everything that we needed. We met with the chief of the community. He gave us the venue that was not paid for. 3 days I was already bombarding my head and praying. I said, Lord, what do I do? I've already committed myself. I've already told these children the grand finale is this. I don't have money for so many things on ground. 3 or 4 days to the program, I got an alert of 150,000 naira. People that have reached out to, somebody sent that money, and that was all. We began to run around. We went to the studio, made more announcements about the program, went down to, get the t-shirts, caps, and also many things, souvenirs we did. We did that program. The money, everything went peacefully and went well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for
At the end of the day, I didn't have money to give the winners as at that time. We promised them give me a period of a month. And within the period of a month, I was able to pay almost half of the contestant. This is my own story, and it repeated itself 2024, when we had another program like that. And that was how, as you're saying, when we have providence, playing out for us. We just have to take the step. I was so scared, and I told myself, I don't want to do this again if I don't have so much money, if I don't have money on ground. But I always notice that whenever I step out, whenever I take action, things just align. And that is how it has been for us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And I think thank you. I think we should put a round of applause for Rhoda taking the floor to be able to share it. And coordinator, are there other people sending text or thereby? Is there anything to read out before I continue?
Not at the moment, but maybe someone might want to speak.
Okay. Oh, maybe
time. Yes, time.
But I think we've been privileged that Rhoda's experience captured everything I've been
So
saying.
Janet wants to, I think we can get an extra 5 minutes. I would love to hear her.
Janet.
So Janet, please go ahead. Yeah. You can unmute.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the opportunity and the knowledge you've shared so far.
Thank you.
Concerning what you asked, actually my story is this. It's very little, but because I just started, I'm a young entrepreneur.
Okay.
Actually, I'm a photographer.
Okay.
I've been into photography, I think, since 2020. Just as the other lady spoke earlier, I I had passion for it and I went for it. I started and I became good at it. So I was feeling okay. Uh, the field is too. I felt it was too dirty for for a spiritual person, even though I had the passion for it because of what I was seeing. Of course, there were people that were different, but they were very, very few. So there were times I had to watch some photos being snapped that I wasn't really comfortable with. So I was like, maybe God wouldn't want me to go into this in the future. So I kept prolonging it like that, like that. But the passion was there. I was just working for people. I was being paid peanuts. In fact, at a point, I got very angry, just as she said. I was like, I'm working for somebody. My salary is like something he gets from just like in less than 10 minutes, we get what I was paid. So I was really pissed. So I I left the work. Actually, I'm also a student. So I came back to school. I've not really been pursuing it until I attended a meeting. Uh, and of course, I was encouraged. And okay, I went to look for a work actually from a photographer. Okay, I needed funds in school for some other things, projects, and the rest. So when I went to look for the work, I spoke to the photographer. I told him I'll be working at my leisure and he'll pay me for every photo I work on and everything I edit. He was going to pay me for it. And the man said he wanted to see my work. So when I showed him some photos, he was like, "Did you work on this picture?" I said, "Yes, I snapped and worked on them." What he told me was that you don't need a job. He said,
Wow.
"Go and start your brand."
Wow.
The man told me, you don't need my help. I did this thing happened just last month.
Oh, wow.
The man told me, you don't need a job. Go and start up your brand. In fact, he went for that to say that if I want a studio to start shooting, to start making, producing my work and start posting it on my brand, he can avail his place for me to
Wow.
start. And then after that, that was when I attended the meeting I spoke about earlier, and of course I was encouraged. And with the help of God, I'm trying to
Wow.
work on the brand, the logo, and everything. Though it's not everything is not out yet, of course, I will need funds to do other things. That's why I said I'm a baby entrepreneur
Yeah.
just coming up. And of course, her story just adds up to mine. And of course, a lot of things that you spoke about. I had the ideas, I had the mindset. The mindset was limited actually at a point. But with the help of this, I've really been blessed and I've been enlightened. Thank you so much.
Great, great, good, good. So it's really fascinating that we have life stories. Now, don't let us miss one point. Doing said, you have risk. Did you hear her mention debt? Yorubas call it basi. I don't know what the other people call it. Now, that is also one problem with the entrepreneur. The Yoruba culture especially frowns on debt like nothing else. And I must tell you the truth, as an entrepreneur, you struggle with trajectory. If because this is woven into the culture. Yorubas have this thing that you cannot be in debt and be flamboyant. O le fi gbese sorun ṣẹ̀ṣọ́. Now, as an entrepreneur, you need to represent your brand. So you often find a situation whereby instead of doing creative debt management, because of the mindset that has been created, you are always struggling with this issue. And that is just one of the many, like we said, but it's interesting. So just to note that Doing said all of these things. She was practical. Yes, you have debt, you are financial, all of that. And the people who have spoken, they have spoken about all of this. The point I'm trying to make is that you are seeing the roles out. Your mind is the bridge between the idea and how you bring it to earth, and the quality of decision you are going to make about your business is going to be to the level of the quality where your mind is set. That is why I said God is also somebody who works with a mindset. But you heard him say that now we are told that the word of God doesn't change. So it is that word that doesn't change, that has power, that doesn't know impossibility, that God has used to set his own mind. So it means that when God is setting his values, when he's setting everything and anything about his business, it's going to be the highest and the highest. That is the reason why God is beyond us. He says, my thoughts are far from your thoughts. My ways are far from your ways. It's because of the quality of information he processes. And this is the advantage and the hope. If you can position yourself knowing now that there's nothing you can do about it, you have been created to make decisions, because it is through decision that you do creation. And that is the same way that God also did creation. And you don't take decisions without having information. It is when the information has mixed with your heart, like the clay is water that's mixed with your heart, and you have left it, the way it sets is the way that every idea, every thought, every aspiration you have in life will be set to that. If you're a 1,000 naira person, if you're a 1 million naira person, when you make more than 1 million, you will find the need to waste the other ones until you reach that 1 million that your mind has been set to take. It's only when you break the setting of that mind, that is when you can be more. Okay, and just to show that. So the last one here is actually 2 slides. And honestly, I think that is the place that would finish the work for me. Because honestly, there's nobody on the face of the earth that is not working through a mindset. Where you are right now is a function, the result of your mind, how your mind has worked. If I were to take the story of the organizers of this event, I'm sure that probably she got the idea one way or the other. There's so many ways you get a business idea. For doing, apart from seeing her mother, is people saying, what are you doing? Do a business. Janet just told us right now that the man said, you don't need anything, just go and start your own business. The other person said, I dreamt. And so you have several ways. It can be through class, it can be through friends and everything. It comes unsolicited. Okay? Once it comes, it's your mind that it passes through. And then when you take a decision, you are equal to that idea in the spiritual realm. And that is when it starts producing beyond what the physicality can explain. You heard all that Rhoda said, everything, providence just coming. Somebody sending 150,000. Who told that person to send 150,000? Even though he said she had been in debt, how did she come out of debt that she now has millions for generations to take care of? These things are spiritual, but it's a function of how quality the setting of your mind is. And so you now need to now be curious about what is it that interacts with my mind that now forms it. That is what we call the entrepreneurial superstructure. It is 2 things: management information system and information management system. Now, before I go on, just the last practical thing that I want to say, I would want to engage the organizer right now. Organizer, how many people do you think are on this call? I think there's a way you can verify.
Yeah, we have about 33.
33. 33. How many do you know their homes?
No.
Now, most of them will become your friend. Okay, you have 33 human beings connected right now. Now, you had this idea sometime back, right?
Yes, I did.
But there have been other ideas that you had that you didn't do anything about.
Yeah, several.
Then you did something about this.
Yes.
So if I can explain the something that you did is the fact that, number one, you thought about it. then you believed that it can happen. That is a function of the possibilities that are in your mind, the information, the knowledge, the interaction, the socialization. And then you learned through your mind and with your mind, how do they do this thing? You now decided, and then you broadcast the information. You did not indicate, you did not direct the people who register to register. You didn't. All the people who are here right now, they made decisions because they also interacted with the information, the idea that I can come here, they acted on it. The other people who did it. Now, you are now serving 33 people. It's possible that you retain like 5 in mentoring, coaching, and business services. It's possible that some of them stay in within my solution enterprise. It's possible that people would grow businesses from here. These things are beyond your control. That is what I'm talking about. So we're seeing this thing play out live like that. By the way, Doyin's mom is in the UK. Okay? So for you to see how this thing works, she was doing Alase in Nigeria. But you see, even if she was illiterate and wasn't doing it very well, she was most likely doing it so that she can inspire the person who can take it beyond measure. So you can see that even her own decision right now, she didn't have control over it, that it has grown. Because Doyin cannot be a millionaire and leave her mother to be suffering. That is the whole concept that we're trying to, and I'm saying that what you need to be aware of is the next thing I'm going to share. And it's basically big names for information. Big names for what they told you when you were growing up. Big names of what they told you in your churches and your mosque. Big names for what they told you in your culture. Let me tell you another culture, another cultural thing in Yoruba, which is a problem for entrepreneurs. Apart from le fi gbese sorun shesho, which means that you cannot be in debt and then be looking good, which would attack your brand, which mess up your brand. If you say because you're in debt, you don't want to look great, you can see that information right now, and many people interact with it. The next one is there's this one of the gods of Yoruba, I think is Shango or something like that. And I think he lost out in one power tussle or a love affair or something like that. And then he went and committed suicide. Okay, so you have Oba Koso. That means that the king did not hang. He didn't die by hanging. He didn't commit suicide by hanging. Okay. Now, this choice has been made into a religion. And so you have, from the mythology of Yoruba and the tradition and the culture, you have something, this expression that they say, Ikuya jesin lo, that it is better to die than to live in shame. Now, that is a problem for an entrepreneur who goes into debt. Because instead of forging through your difficulty, your culture has put it in your mind that you should abdicate the pursuit of a solution and cop out and die. So sometimes even when you do not go to hang, you find that you stop. So the high rate of stopping, of turning back, will be higher in some culture than in other cultures because of this factor. And you don't know that this thing has become something that has entered into your mind. It's the same thing with religion. Internet, for example. When it started out, the Bible says in the book of Daniel that knowledge shall expand, and people shall travel to and fro. So it's only the Christian that should have actually been able to invent internet, which is the World Wide Web. But even at that, when the internet came, the church did not embrace it. They called it the sign of the end time, that is the devil's place. The same thing with the television, the same thing with internet, the same thing with everything. So you see, many entrepreneurs did not take opportunity of that development until later on, when most other people have latched on and become something. Now, let me quickly say this about Jeff Bezos. He saw the internet. He read a report about it at his place of work. And the report told him that the internet was growing at a rate of over 1,000%, if I'm right. Because Jeff Bezos now used that information to see that all the world will soon be on the internet, he resigned from his job. And guess what he started with? He started selling books. How much can books give a person who was a vice president in a financial firm, I think, financial reporting firm? But that is what happens when you follow this thing. That is an idea. You follow it with kind of quality information that sets your mind. The decision you make is always beyond you. He started in a garage. He borrowed money from his in-law and his parents. And himself and his wife started, his then wife started selling books. Books. Now is worth billions. How can you correlate that? So you see, the information that you deal with is very important, and I cannot overemphasize that. But for you to be able to manage it, I just want to explain it in two ways. The first one that I'm going to explain is what we call management information system. Now, that word is already giving you an idea into what I say an entrepreneur is. It is only managers, people at management level, who use this information to make decisions. So you can already see the place that the entrepreneur is, the potential in entrepreneurship. So the focus of management information system is decision-making and business operations. Decision-making and business operations. This is the information system that you use to make decisions and then to run your business. Again, like I said, if this information set, if your culture, your beliefs, your value system, if the circle of peers that you have who are putting pressure on you, all of those, if they are not quality, because you do not have any option but to make decisions anyway, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, you are constantly making decisions because you are born to make decisions, because you are born to be a creator. So when you are not making decisions and creating, you are actually creating the generation. So don't think that you are not doing anything. What you do not choose to change, you choose to accept. But in accepting, its quality reduces, it doesn't increase. So everybody on the face of the earth is a manager of information system because you make decisions, and especially business operations. There's nothing you can do. So if your quality of your information that has set your mind, if the relationship around you, the things that contribute to your information system, if they're not quality, your mind will set. When your mind sets, you don't have control, but to make decisions and do operations of life from the way your mind is set. The Bible says he who works with the wise will be wise. Can you see what I'm saying right now? Because when you work with the wise, you get information that is wise, then your mind sets. It doesn't tell you that it is setting. It doesn't tell you that it is forming to the degree of the information you have. But definitely that's what you put out. And if you are African here and you are religious, that is actually how generational patterns develop. Because you have watched several generations in the past develop into make choices and habits. You wouldn't know that you were listening and you were hearing and all of those things until you now get to that position. You find that automatically you start making those choices, and those decisions create the same level of results that you have seen in other people. So they call it generational patterns. Okay? And then that's the definition, but let me just talk about some of the characteristics. It supports strategic, tactical, and operational decision making. I think that's the only one I want to bring out there. It supports strategic, tactical, and operational decision making. Okay. And then I'll run through it. You'll get a slide. That is the first thing you notice. Now, it is different from information management systems. Now, the first one is the kind of reports that you get to make decisions. The second one, information management system, are the ways and manners that information comes to you. The ways and manners that information comes to you. And now this is where your friends, family, culture, beliefs, and everything, this is where they come in. They are the sources of your information, books, documentaries, and everything. It is from there, from these information management systems, that you now do management information system where you make decisions. The good thing about the mindset is that if you are able to control the information that comes through this system to you, and you make choices that optimize quality decision, competitive decision, premium decision, when it comes to time for you to make decision, because they would have worked on your mind, they would have set you in a way that you are not even aware of, then you find that the decision you'll be taking would be ones that work well. So those are the two things. And that is where, for me, I can say, I conclude. You can see talks about data storage, retrieval, and governance. Your mind is a storage facility. So when it has received all of those information, when they've made arguments, it now accepts the ones you want to accept. The quality of those information sets the quality of your life, such that it sets the mind that is set in a particular way, now informs the height that you set for yourself, your business, and everything. So you are the one who, at the management information system, manages the information and make decisions. But you are the one whose mind attract all of this information. Whether you need to go to business school, whether you need to change friends, whether you need to do whatever you need to do, these are things that you're in control of. Whether you need to think about your family, think about your background, think about your country, think about the things you hear, the song you hear, and everything. Now you know how these things work. So for me, those are the things I want to bring. Now you can see right now that it covers data lifecycle management from creation to deletion. That means, that deletion means that you can actually do something about your mindset. That's what it means. And so it is from here right now that I'll give you this slide. Okay, there'll be opportunity in future master classes, okay, for us to actually interact more on the second part, which is actually where we are right now. Okay, this one I would ask the facilitator to probably send this to you. You can interact with the materials that are there and then share your understanding with me, because I told you that you are the one that's going to teach us. As you're going through materials in this second part, be thinking about the background I've created, the stories that you have heard. Yesterday, while I was preparing for this, I heard the story of the person who created Discovery. Discovery is a cable channel. And they said the guy just liked documentaries, but he didn't have the studio to create it. So he went and started licensing documentary from BCC, British Broadcasting Corporations. Those ones, they had not seen the market, so they were selling it to him cheap. So from there, it started on and going on and going on. And then things became better for him. But there was a particular time that something happened in the economy and they went into debt, just like Doyin said, and he thought they couldn't get the money. The day he was going to go to the office to tell his staff that they were going to shut down, somebody called him. Somebody called him and then gave him the exact money that he needed. He said he was crying. That is always the story of the entrepreneur. There's something spiritual about it, especially if you're able to accept the spiritual origin of ideas, if you're able to make decisions that are spiritual also in nature and in execution, and then note the bridge from idea to decision making. It passes through the mind. The way the mind is configured, set, the way it's set, which aids automation. determines almost everything that happens. So that is where we're going to put a pause to this. Like I said, we're going to get the materials. Then part two, I want you to interact with it. You have my email address, and then we can organize, informal sessions where we share your thoughts, and then you're able to facilitate, teams. Just like Doyin came and facilitated, you can we can give you the opportunity. My platform can give you the opportunity where I can share, even if it's on a personal application level, you can reach out to me. You can say this is.
Mr. Akin, you're muted.
Yeah, I was just saying thank you, everyone. When they give you the material, you have my address at the back of the material. Thank you, facilitator. I yield the floor if there are questions or if we have to move that to another sector. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akin, and thank you for offering your time. We hope that this session has been liberating, and we hope it's that stretched your minds as entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter whether you're in tech, you're building a technological solution or not. The basics, the foundations of being entrepreneurial are the same across board. And we hope that you really enjoyed the session as much as we have. There's going to be another masterclass where it's going to be much more engaging, almost without any time limit with Mr. Akinlabi. He has always offered us that. So in the WhatsApp group, if you've not joined, let us know that you're not there and you would love to be a part of it. We will arrange that. Mr. Akin also has his own consulting called AELS, and he has master classes that I'm sure will be available to some of us for free. So do let us know if you would like to be a part of that. I would love us to take at least one question. I don't think it's fair. I know we've gone beyond our time, but I think we should open the floor to just one question before we call it a day. Thank you so much for being patient. It's always exciting to listen to Mr. Akinlabi, but let's take one question before we call it a day. Would anybody love to take this opportunity? Entrepreneurs are very quick. Yes, awesome. So tell us your name and take this opportunity to ask your question.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I want to appreciate the man, Mr. Akinlabi Alabi. It's been a great session. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't able to participate in the first one, but this is my question. I think this is the best time for me to actually join. I've been having some issue. I've been not need to have a kind of an e-commerce website that particularly deals on health, health products. But I know money is the major challenge because I'm really going through tough time with my finances. But there is one thing I've been struggling with. I don't know how to actually overcome it. Like each time I want to actually take up a particular step, I kind of feel, you know, like I kind of feel backwarded. I don't really know how to explain it. But if I want to maybe take a step in something, there is always a laid back. And I've been really struggling to deal with that aspect. Aside money being a challenge, but this is one major problem I've been facing. Like I'm really trying to actually deal with it. And I've really gone through a lot of maybe trying to go through some stuff, but it's still not working. Still not working. So I don't know how maybe platform can actually help me at least one step at a time so that I can actually get to that step. So if money is now the final thing then I will know is now finances. I don't know.
Thank you so much. What's your name?
The general.
Thank you, the general. You validated the whole essence of SASSI's existence and the fact that we actually begin with this first class on entrepreneurial mindset. Mr. Akin, before you answer the question, please tell us it's a yes for the decision-making class, master class.
I'll work with you. Definitely it's going to be a yes. I'll work with you. And I'm particularly also eager for those who want to undergo or participate in the part 2, which is the participant-led aspect, which I think is vital. I will like to work with you in that regard, and then I'll communicate a date that will be possible for us to go through that. So yes, it's a yes. Thank you.
Yes, you can attempt to answer the general's question.
Yeah, basically what you said is actually the problem of your mind. The reason why you can't make decisions is that you do not have all the information that you need to make decisions. And your mind is the store of the information that you use to make decisions. So there are still some aspects of the information that is lacking. That is why you can't make a decision. Okay. I'm a Christian, so the Bible says somewhere, it says that, is anybody who lacks wisdom, let him ask God. So you can see that the Bible acknowledges the fact that there is a time that you will not have all the information, and then God will need you to give you all the information. That is the first thing. When you are hesitant about is because you are not clear. So you need to increase your knowledge about the area you're focusing on. You need to learn about those who are doing it so that it would change, it will reset your mind in that regard. Then another thing is this. God made us social. Most of the time, you need somebody holding your hand. Okay, I'm sorry to say, in Africa, the way our society has been run is such that this vital aspect of life, which is coaching, mentorship, and even passing the right information, has not always been there. So it's a thing that we lack, and it comes out in the kind of situation that you find yourself. So the thing is this, you need to grow the information level that you have with regard to that area. Secondly, you need to reach out to someone who can hold your hand. Like the organizer said, SASI exists to hold your hand. When I participate in this program, I'm always giving free slots for coaching and mentoring. You need somebody to hold your hand through these stages. It doesn't just come automatically. So as you take one decision, informed decision after the other, your mind starts setting on possibilities. Also about money. Money is in relationships. Again, I refer to Doi. Doi, you heard her talking about the fact that, see, let's do business. Let's do multimillionaire business. That is how problems are solved. Okay, so money is not always the problem. It is other issues around money. For example, you say you want money, but what is your mindset about money? Does your spirit attract money, or does your spirit judge money and limit money? So those are all the things that you need to think about. And then once Providence sees your readiness, like I said, the powers that are beyond you start coming into effect, and you are able to do everything. You also heard Doyin talk about Boaba, and if I can quickly talk about Boaba, Boaba is a platform that allows you to do a susu, a jo, and a dashi in such a way that you do it with your group. We participate in that. And part of the reason why we participate is because we have decided to give cash back monthly to those who do their jo, their dashi, their susu. Then at the end of the cycle, we still give you cash back, which is more like a reward, clapping for you for saving money, for working with people. At the same time, we also give your group money after the whole set of people have collected their payouts. We give you a percentage of the total amount that everybody collects. We ask you to go to your society, to your community, You see somebody who needs something. You can be an entrepreneur who needs 100,000 or 50,000, depending on the volume of money that you guys saved, which we have given you free of charge. Go there and make something happen for that person. Maybe it's a child whose parents are poor. Give them money, they can buy food stuff. That's the community development bonus that we give. Now, the good aspect about it is that being a part of it, we can now be in a situation to hold your hand, give you loans for your business when you need it. So again, you are seeing that solutions are bound. It is the relationships where the money is that you have not been able to access. And Abuaba is giving everyone the opportunity to be part of a new way of doing Isusu in such a way that it increases your wealth, it sharpens your leadership and entrepreneurial capacity, and then it also blesses your society. So that's just my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so, so much. Hopefully in the masterclass, we'll be able to also expand on how consistency is not being consistent or being able to push oneself is caused by a lack of information. Thank you everyone for attending today. I am so grateful that you took the time to be here. We're way, way, way beyond our time frame, but that's fine. We've gained so much for today. I hope to see you all next week, the same time. We'll have one of our experts on board and we'll be much more specific in the tech space and in building your tech solutions and seeing how that goes from wherever stage it is now into a viable, impactful venture. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Akinlabi. Thank you to the rest of the SASSY team, Precious, Deborah, Ruth, Sylvia, and Sophia. We hope to see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.